After a month-long political tamasha, Pakistan today is all set to get a new Prime Minister. The combined opposition has already named PMLN President Shehbaz Sharif as its joint candidate to replace Imran Khan after a last-minute surprise entry of Shah Mahmood Qureshi, who was nominated by the PTI. It's now certain that Shehbaz Sharif will be the next Prime Minister. PTI, meanwhile, carried out huge protests across the country. They've also announced that their lawmakers will resign if Shehbaz Sharif was allowed to contest the elections. Imran Khan, meanwhile, has repeated the foreign conspiracy theory. He said that Pakistan became an independent state in 1947, but the freedom struggle begins now against, again, what he called a foreign conspiracy of regime change. Sources have told us that Imran Khan will visit the Parliament House today. Remember that he was unceremoniously removed from office through a no-confidence vote, becoming the first premier in Pakistan's history to be ousted through a no-trust motion. All of that played out over the weekend. Since then, it looks like the decks are clear now for Shehbaz Sharif. Now, the opposition parties in Pakistan have nominated formally Shehbaz Sharif of the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz as their joint candidate for the Prime Minister's election. Shehbaz Sharif is a brother of Nawaz Sharif and he is likely to take over as the next leader, as the next premier of Pakistan. This after Imran Khan was ousted through a no-confidence motion. All of that played out over the weekend.
This is Shehbaz Sharif. The leader of opposition and chief of Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. A hardcore realist who makes no bones while performing onerous tasks. Sharif is little known outside Pakistan, but has a reputation domestically as an effective administrator. The PML chief is now the front-runner to become Pakistan's next Prime Minister after the ouster of Imran Khan. Following the submission of nomination papers on Sunday, Sharif is likely to be elected as the Prime Minister on Monday. Shehbaz, the 70-year-old younger brother of former three-time Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, has served as Chief Minister of the country's most populous and politically crucial Punjab province thrice. This is the first time his party, PMLN, especially its supremo Nawaz Sharif, agreed on his name for the post of the Prime Minister. Nawaz's daughter and PMLN Vice President Maryam Nawaz, groomed to be Nawaz's successor, has said her uncle is a man who has served the nation selflessly and tirelessly. In September 2020, Shehbaz was arrested by the anti-graft body National Accountability Bureau on charges of money laundering. Shehbaz denied the charges and termed them as political victimization by the Imran Khan government. He remained in jail for several months before he got bail. Shehbaz's son Hamza Shehbaz is the leader of opposition in the Punjab Assembly. Hamza is also contesting the Chief Minister election against the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf coalition candidate Parvez Ilahi. His younger son Sulaiman Shehbaz has been absconding in the United Kingdom for the last few years in a money laundering and unaccounted wealth case. Analysts say that the PML chief, unlike Nawaz Sharif, enjoys amicable relations with Pakistan's military, which traditionally controls foreign and defense policy in the nation of 22 crore people. If the leader is elected to power, all eyes will be on how Shehbaz steers Pakistan out of its massive economic crisis. Bureau Report, India Today.
Interestingly, in Pakistan, no Prime Ministers completed a full 5-year tenure. This is in Pakistan's entire 75-year-old history, a trend that's essentially been extended with the removal now of Imran Khan, who lost that no-confidence vote. Pakistan, a parliamentary democracy for most of its history, has had a total of 29 Prime Ministers since 1947, one of whom even took on the role twice in a matter of 1 year.
1951, Rawalpindi. Pakistan's first Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan assassinated. 1958, Islamabad. Iskandar Ali Mirza imposed martial law, collapsing Feroz Khan's administration. 1977, Lahore High Court. Pakistan Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto sentenced to death by Pakistan court. 1999, Islamabad. Pakistan General Pervez Musharraf issued martial law and Nawaz Sharif is deposed. There's a jinx that shadows every Prime Minister of Pakistan. Nobody who has occupied the highest executive seat in Pakistan has completed a full term of 5 years. Cricketer turned politician Imran Khan has now become another Prime Minister on that unfortunate list, but the first one to be ousted by losing a no-confidence vote.
Votes in favor of the resolution. Consequently, the resolution for vote of no confidence against Mr. Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, has been passed by a majority of the total membership of the National Assembly.
After independence, Muhammad Ali Jinnah invited Liaquat Ali Khan to form the government. Liaquat was assassinated at a rally in Rawalpindi in 1951. A year before his tenure was to end, Sir Khwaja Nizamuddin was the first Bengali Prime Minister. After failing to handle the 1953 Lahore riots and unable to ward off economic turmoil, Sir Khwaja was forced to resign. Next came Muhammad Ali Bogra, who was credited with building ties with India and America. But he fell out with Governor General Iskandar Mirza and packed off as ambassador to the US. Chaudhry Muhammad Ali occupied the chair in August 1955, but lasted only 1 year. His downfall, a result of rifts in the Muslim League. His successor was Hussain Shahid Suhrawardi, who headed a coalition government, his Awami League joining hands with the Republican Party. Unable to keep the coalition united, Suhrawardi quit within a year. Pakistan's sixth Prime Minister Ibrahim Ismail Chundrigar served in office for mere 55 days, resigning before a vote of no confidence motion in the Assembly. Sir Feroz Khan Noon, a former High Commissioner of India to Britain before independence, became Prime Minister in December 1957, but with martial law imposed, the post became defunct. Nurul Amin lasted only 13 days as Prime Minister in December 1971, but in that short tenure had the misfortune of leading a war against India that ended with East Pakistan being sliced off. Amin's resignation on 28 December 1971 was the result of immense pressure from the military on President Yahya Khan. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto became Prime Minister in 1973 and steered the country for 4 years before being deposed in a military coup in July 1977.
Mr. Bhutto की हुकूमत खत्म हो चुकी है। सारे मुल्क में मार्शल लॉ नाफिज कर दिया गया है। कौमी और सूबाई असेंबलियां तोड़ दी गई हैं। सूबाई गवर्नर और वजीर हटा दिए गए हैं।
Inarguably the most charismatic of Pakistani rulers.
14th or 15th of December 1971. I will not be a party to it. My country hearkens for me. Why should I waste my time here in the Security Council?
Bhutto was imprisoned by General Zia-ul Haq and hanged to death in 1979. Muhammad Khan Junejo served as Prime Minister, but his sour relationship with Ziaul Haq saw him rule for just about 3 years, beginning 1985. In 1988, Pakistan got its first woman Prime Minister, Benazir Bhutto. Her government was dismissed in 1990. In an ISI-inspired move, she came to power again in 1993.
I would like to thank the honourable members of this House. Indeed, I would like to thank the House for once again reposing confidence in me.
But her government was dismissed over corruption charges in December 1996. In between Benazir's 2 terms, Nawaz Sharif became the 12th Prime Minister of Pakistan in 1990. A businessman turned politician, Nawaz became Prime Minister thrice, for a total of 9 years, but was never able to complete a full term.
I request you all to remain calm and support your armed forces in the re-establishment of order to pave the way for a prosperous future for Pakistan.
Zafarullah Khan Jamali, the first Baloch PM of Pakistan, held office in 2002 after Pervez Musharraf's 1999 military coup. Jamali unexpectedly resigned after 1.5 years and was succeeded by Chaudhry Shujat. A temporary Prime Minister, Shujat was replaced by Shaukat Aziz in 2004. Aziz left office in 2007 when the parliamentary term ended. Then in 2008 came Yusuf Raza Gilani. In 2012, Gilani was disqualified by the Supreme Court for not reopening corruption cases against President Asif Ali Zardari. Raja Pervez Ashraf completed Gilani's term till 2013. Nawaz Sharif came back as Prime Minister for the 3rd time in 2013 and steered Pakistan for 4 years till his impeachment. Shahid Khaqan Abbasi became the 21st Prime Minister of Pakistan and completed Sharif's term. The Prime Minister's chair in Pakistan is a hot seat in the literal sense, and the political curse that a Prime Minister will never keep his post for 5 years continues with Imran Khan.
So Pakistan witnessed the first such incident of a Prime Minister being ousted after losing a no-confidence vote. But will Imran's unceremonious exit and change of guard in Pakistan's regime mean one more turn with regards to its relations with India?
The resolution for vote of no confidence against Mr. Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, has been passed by a majority of the total membership of the National Assembly.
April 10th will be etched in Pakistan's history. The country witnessed first such incident of a Prime Minister being ousted after losing a no-confidence vote. The month-long battle, however, has ended in more uncertainty. Pakistan's political upheaval raises a pertinent question. Who will be next Prime Minister? Imran's unceremonious exit has created a vacuum in Pakistan's power structure.
रास्ता वहीं से निकलेगा वतन की मट्टी मुझे एड़ियां रगड़ने दे मुझे यकीन है चश्मा यहीं से निकलेगा
PMLN chief Shehbaz Sharif, the younger brother of 3-time Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, is all set to become the next Prime Minister of Pakistan. The change of guard in Pakistan could mean one more turn in its relations with India. New Delhi's main concern is Pakistan-sponsored terror in Jammu and Kashmir. While Shehbaz Sharif has mainly confined himself to domestic politics, his brother Nawaz had been keen to improve ties with India. However, Imran Khan's praise for India and his insinuation of a US hand in his removal as Prime Minister could make the pitch hostile for Indo-Pak ties.
हिंदुस्तान को देख लें, इतनी किसी की जुर्रत नहीं, किसी की जुर्रत थी कि इस तरह की बात करते हैं हिंदुस्तान में. यूरोपियन यूनियन के जब एम्बेसडर्स ने यहाँ बिल्कुल प्रोटोकॉल के खिलाफ स्टेटमेंट दी कि जी पाकिस्तान को रूस के खिलाफ स्टेटमेंट देनी चाहिए, क्या वो हिंदुस्तान में कह सकते हैं? क्या उनकी जुर्रत है हिंदुस्तान में ऐसी स्टेटमेंट देते हुए? क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान एक सॉवरन मुल्क है।
With just a year to go for elections in Pakistan and tempers high in the country, a meaningful outreach between India and Pakistan may take time. Now the positives. The two biggest peace outreach from New Delhi, Atal Bihari Vajpayee's bus ride to Lahore and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Christmas stopover in Pakistan happened during Nawaz Sharif's rule. Each time Sharif was scuttled by the army there. Shehbaz is known to have a better relationship with the Pakistan army, which controls its foreign and defense policy. With Pakistan on the verge of bankruptcy, the army is unlikely to raise the heat in ties with India. Recently, its army chief, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, had sought dialogue with India to resolve all issues, including Kashmir. He said diplomacy should be used to resolve all outstanding issues with India to keep the flames of fire away from the region. All said, any real change in Indo-Pak ties may have to wait till next elections in Pakistan. Bureau Report, India Today.